I thought the experience for Brock just being in a game like this, there was a value in that. Like you said, the loss wasn't going to kill him in terms of the big picture making the playoffs. It would have eliminated, any hopes of the 1 seed and maybe the 2 seed because Minnesota plays the Bears next week. But I wouldn't put anything past Minnesota, although I don't know if Fields will be playing quarterback for the Bears next week. But it was, I thought, a road environment, if you want to call it that, useful experience for Brock Purdy. And Brock might say, guys, I've been in games like that before, so it really didn't make a difference to me. But it made me at least more comfortable with him, watching him in a game in which they trailed. I think Dubow answered the stat. Niners are now 2-33 under Kyle Shanahan when they're losing by double digits in the second half. The only other time they won a game when trailing by double digits in the second half under Kyle is last year's Week 18 game against the Rams. I saw one of the beat writers, maybe it was Barrows, say it kind of felt like the Saints. Remember the Niners-Saints game in 2019? That shootout after the Ravens loss, where Jimmy was probably Jimmy's best career game, that it kind of just felt like that in the building there today. But for me, what I really valued was watching Brock in a game where they trail. Just every throw was going to matter. Every decision was going to matter. Taking a sack was going to kill you, all that type of stuff. And he was great. I think he was great. And I'm using great maybe a little loosely, but like he really passed that. He had a test today that we hadn't seen him take yet, and he really passed it.
Greatest run for Mr. Relevant player in the history of the league.
Low bar, but yeah.
Bar's low, but he's exceeding expectations. And honestly, for the Purdy family, ever since probably 2009, it's been trending upward, right? He's just carrying on that tradition. Just keep trending.
What was your? Let's talk about the favorite Brock Purdy plays from the day. The touchdown to Kittle, number one.
Touchdown to Kittle. I do think his throwaways. I mean, I would say this under Jimmy Garoppolo, when we talked about him and thought they had a Super Bowl level team with him, looking back, like it would have been very difficult because he can't avoid the sacks that Purdy can. Purdy is avoiding sacks because from a scouting perspective, his instincts, like one thing I think like Carr, for example, gets knocked on, doesn't have great instincts when guys are close to him anymore. And I would say Jimmy is very hit or miss with this. And part of it is like Tom Brady can have good instincts, but he can't move, whatever. This guy can move. And that double juke he had on the blitzing Raider off the edge to his left side, even Sanchez was like, damn, that was remarkable. And that's a big difference of like losing.
You're talking about on the throwaway, that play?
I'm talking on the throwaway. I'm talking losing 8 yards or just going back to, instead, it's 1st and 10. You're just 2nd and 10 and 2nd and 18. Then all of a sudden you get a slant, you get a first down. It's like, boom. Usually that play led to a sack from Jimmy Garoppolo and then to a 3 and out, right? Because it was 2nd and 18, then he ran it, and then he just like ran a slant, okay, 5 yards. So his ability to extend plays and just neutral, like not even gain anything, right? Just throw the ball away. Wasn't that the knock on Jimmy? He didn't throw the football away. He had like 3 in his career.
The 3 this year.
So and to me, some of those. How about the dimes on the minute drive at the end of the game?
Yeah,
he's hitting him in stride. Like it also is a reflection of Jimmy Garoppolo's. Jimmy not very accurate. He's high, low. This guy is fucking right in the breadbasket. And a couple times Raider defenders were draped all over Ayuk. And he's just, even Sanchez was like, this is like bread and butter Montana rice. That slant play. I'm not saying those two guys, but the slant is the bread and butter of the West Coast offense. Even though Shanahan's like this kind of morphed offense now. But you know what I'm saying? Like, if you can run the slant, Kyle's running a shitload of slants today.
He had 2 huge. He had 2 huge throws. Jennings had 2 big catches. He had the one after the Kittle hold, and they had one after the Burford penalty. Remember, Burford sprinted downfield on that McCaffrey screen like he was running a route. Like Burford, why don't you run a slant on this play? Burford was gone.
Burford was like, Forster's going to love this so much. I'm going to deplete a DB.
So both of those plays to Jennings.
Guy, how about there was a throw in the second half to Jennings down the sideline, hit him in the hands. Now that it kind of got broken up, but that was a dime.
It was a dime. That was going to be a really tough catch, but that was a dime.
But can't you live with like the 50-50 plays that are incompletions, you're like, that was a good productive throw.
Give my guy a chance. It felt like a lot of times downfield, Garoppolo didn't give guys chances.
No.
Like I said earlier, I thought the second down at midfield that McCaffrey went for 38 yards to set up the go-ahead score when he has an unblocked blitzer coming right up the gut, and he gets it to Christian. McCaffrey waits and waits and waits for Brunskill, who comes over with this diving block and then tucks his legs so he doesn't trip McCaffrey, and then McCaffrey takes off. I just thought that was like no freak out. He knew him. And I think that goes back to what you were saying about his feel. Like, he does have just really good feel. And I think you wonder, with a rookie who has good feel in college, when the game speeds up the NFL, will his feel translate? And Purdy's feel translates. That's, I think when you watch basketball, you can see that really quickly. Like with a rookie, basketball, it's really obvious. Like, does the guy have a feel? Is he in the right place? Is the ball moving when he touches it? Does he know what to do with it? Does he help on defense? You can see it really quickly in hoops. And you see it really quickly with Brock. Like, when there is pressure, does he know exactly how much time he has to not panic? And he doesn't.
Well,
he does not panic under pressure, like literally under a guy running at him pressure.
One thing you see in the Final Four with the college guys, TCU doesn't have that many 5 stars, but the other programs have high-level guys that are just like pretty natural players.
Yeah.
But you do college games, and if you watch a lot of college games where you see guys like, this guy should be pretty talented, but he's just like, something's missing. I bet you see it a lot when you call college basketball games. Like, this guy's 6'9", he's fucking shredded. It's like, I don't think the guy knows what he's doing out there.
I can't tell you how many sophomores I've talked to a basketball coach about, like, how's John doing? He's like, well, he's like 6'8", 235. He's like, well, he's, just trying to, he doesn't really have the feel yet. It's just, I think it's so hard in basketball to like get that. And if you don't have it by the time you're through your freshman year, like, you're probably not getting it.
And what's crazy about the NFL, is the draft is a process of like balancing upside on guys like a Kittle, right? On a Fred Warner, guys that have the measurables that just for whatever reason you can get in the 3rd or the 4th or the 5th round and then can become high-end players, and taking like, this guy's really got some instincts. Because if Purdy was Nick Foles' size, like we said, he would have gotten in the 1st round. People loved him, and he produced at the highest level, but he's tiny. But you watch him, you go, this guy just has it, right? He just has it. Like Steve Kerr, the type guys he loves just have it, right? Now, a lot of people are like, well, he just doesn't like the talented guys. He just wants guys that are good. That like, yeah, they might have a lower ceiling, but they can just operate.
Well, that's the thing.
And this guy, in a weird way, is kind of breaking through that ceiling of like, well, we acted like he's just this high floor guy. He's actually probably somewhere closer in the middle of like, he breaks through that floor. We have to acknowledge, like, he does not have the physical attributes of Mahomes, Herbert, or Allen, obviously. But he's fucking, if Kirk Cousins and some of these guys, like Dak Prescott, doesn't have a great arm. Now, Dak's bigger, but I watched Dak on Thursday Night Football throw a pick right in the fucking guy's breadbasket. Like, and look, they've put good teams around him, and they win 12 games every year, right? And the difference is, like, imagine if Dak was Kyle's quarterback. Kyle'd feel great about it. Like, part of like the Niners having Purdy just play like that, if he can get into that group of what Cousins and Dak, kind of hold down that 9 to 11 group. Well, if you have a high-end coach and a good roster, like, you can make hay. The reason the Cowboys lost in the playoffs is because they're coaching their operation, right? Their talent with the Niners, it didn't look like that big of a gap, right? It was like they were going off sides every play. And fucking McCarthy's chewing on a pencil.
Couldn't manage the clock at the end of the game.
No. Dax was a better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo. So the point, and this is, listen, would you rather have the top 5 quarterbacks? Of course. But that's just not an option. And the Niners tried, and now the guy's getting a second surgery in 6 months. Shit, less than that, right? I mean, when did he get hurt? Middle of September? This is what they got. He's fucking damn impressive. And their coach, who's the offensive coordinator, loves him. And when I'm saying love, like, just watch like the way he calls plays.
Well, also their star players are producing with him, which I think is just, when you are a new quarterback, it's a really simple. You remember the story? Was it a Niners practice? Ayuk, like, or was it after? I think it was a practice after the week in which Purdy came in for Jimmy. There was a play in practice where you know what it was? It was Ayuk didn't get the ball a lot. Or something like that, right? Ayuk missed Ayuk on a play, or maybe he missed him in practice. The story was Ayuk telling the story. Purdy came right up to me. He's like, man, I'm going to get you. Don't worry. Like, I got you, right? And I don't know if you heard today during the broadcast, there was some play in practice where Stidham came up to Devontae, was like, I'll get you next time. I got you. And Devontae was like, don't worry about it, man. You don't have to be perfect. Just put it up there for me. My point is, like, all these quarterbacks, I think, are very cognizant of getting the ball to the star player, because the star player, like, wants the ball and will be mad at you if he doesn't get the ball. Well, all the star players, now part of this is just Kyle's able to manipulate the offense with short throws to get guys the ball. But if you have stars on your team, the number one requirement for the quarterback is just get the guy the ball. That's it. Just get the guy the ball. Don't give away possessions and get the guy the ball.
Well, listen, he's a fun story, and I root for him when he plays, and I root for this team, besides when they play the Niners, just because I know a lot of people there. There is a massive drop-off between Minshew and him and just his ability to get the ball to those two guys.
Wait, are you saying if the Niners play the Eagles?
I'm rooting for the Niners.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
Philly. You're rooting for the Eagles. Okay.
No, I'm saying if every other game they play, I'd root for them. I want them to do well.
Right.
But
Eagles ain't sending a paycheck anymore.
No, fuck that. But I enjoy watching them. Like, they're a star-studded team like the Niners. There is a massive drop-off on their ability to, like, function with their offensive stars. Because like the Niners, A.J. Brown, who did hit a big play today, Devontae, stud, Miles Sanders, Goddard, like, they are locked and loaded. But the drop-off is precipitous, right, with Jalen and Gardner. And I think it's pretty clear, like, Gardner's a solid backup. Like, he's going to play in the league for a while. Purdy is feeding these guys. Now, part of it is the offense. And, yeah, I mean, a huge part of it is the offense. But that's the offense. That's what Kyle's always said. It's like, MIDDLEKAUFF, you and everyone else on the internet thinks I need this fucking star quarterback. My offense, if you just can play at a relatively high level, we're going to score points. We're going to score points. And today they scored fucking points with ease. Now, the Raiders defense sucks. But like we said, it was the previous 4 of the last 5 weeks. They just score touchdowns. They feel potent. You know, that's the first half of the season. They did not feel potent. They were winning games or competitive in games, but they weren't potent. They feel potent now. Honestly, the Raiders at any moment kind of feel potent because, like, they might just go deep to Waller or Devontae, right?
Right.
The Niners never felt like that with old James Garoppolo.
I think the other thing, you know, when you look back at Minshew, remember, like, the early Minshew magic in Jacksonville, the one thing that Minshew does that Brock at least has not done is he throws picks. He did it today. He threw it back.
Like I said, he did have some drop today.
Would you count that last one a drop? Where he was trying to hit Ayuk?
There was one in the end zone that the guy was sitting right there. And you did tweet, you did text me that, you know, they shouldn't be allowed to wear black because of the black end zone you can't see.
I do think it's an unfair advantage for the Raiders to wear black at home when they play the black jersey in the black end zone.
Like Boise, blue on blue?
Yeah, shouldn't be allowed to wear blue on blue.
But, you know, the end zone play, like in the playoffs.
I mean, that's how Chandler Jones, you know, picked off whatever his name on the Patriots.
Oh, yeah, that Jacoby thought he was because he was laying down at first,
he was in the black, wearing black in the look. I mean, I just unfair advantage. I wish the league, I think the competition committee should look at it.
Are you trying to diminish a top 3 Raider moment in the last 20 years since the internet started? That's fucked up, man. That's fucked up. Top 3 moment.
Look, I'm Raider guy, John, so I can say those things.
True.
You know, I acknowledge. I think we have a
could argue last 20 years their top moment was last year beating Herbert in the you know, week 18 or whatever. Chandler Jones number 2.
Yeah, it might be. I mean, it was just. You know, signing Josh McDaniels feels like that was pretty high.
Yeah, it's going well.
That was a big moment. Getting the stadium in Vegas in your face, in my face, that was a big moment.
I give Jerry credit on that.